just one person. Oh wow, wow. I mean, I don't know if we can just go through the installation is quite something that we need to like do. Uh, Probably what I'm going to do is just probably I mean create record a video on how to like on the session, because without the software there is nothing really that we can actually do. The installation is probably uh yeah, the installation is probably around, I mean, can we just go through it together? I mean, if we are interested in, we can just go through it together, and we can we should we go through it together? Those things are quite. I mean, everyone should just like, if you want to like talk, just open your. Is it on, or should we go through it together? Let's see. Okay, let's see if we can go through it together.
Yes, that would be better, sir. Absolutely. I think it's better we go through.
Okay, let's go through it
Hi,
together.
it's man. Good evening.
Good evening. Uh,
Um,
yeah, let's just.
Yeah, I'm actually glad we are doing this.
Yeah. Oh.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you clearly.
Because though I don't know why you decided that we should download a virtual machine learning platform, but I'm taking a course on data science, and one of the things I have to do, like on remote data science, is
Hmm.
to install WSL, install Ubuntu and Linux subsystem. Then I saw it on the group, and you also asked us to do it. So can you just expatiate more on the importance of this and also its application, what we can use it for? And you can also guide us on the installation process again, but the YouTube videos were helpful. That's what I'm using to download mine right now.
Oh, wait.
But I want to know more on the application of this, because I'm doing this because I'm taking a remote data science course, and the point of it is for you to be able to access data without seeing the data, blah blah blah. Sha.
Mm,
So
mm.
can you tell me? I don't know whether I got my question,
Yeah,
sha,
of
but
course.
that's
I got your question. I mean, it's like part of like the main one of the things which we actually like be discussing in the, I mean, in this session, like what is the importance of Linux. I mean, if you understand the importance of Linux, you can actually like go on by yourself and get your hands dirty on in like in learning Linux. So like it's like, so I mean, it's a part of the content. Should I just start with, I mean, but like this, the software is still very important. We won't be able to do anything. But let me just, I mean, let me just give a very good overview of like Linux. Why is it useful? I mean, all those sorts. Then probably like later we can go on to like install the, if there is time, we can install it. Then create a video on. Then start like some little commands. I mean, so like in like for computers, so we have like different softwares. Sorry, we have something we call operating system. So like operating system, because like your computers or they are, or your phones or something like that, they are just like hardware. So we call them hardwares. Simple definition of hardware is something that you can touch. I mean, that you can see and touch. While software is something that is, you can't touch it. They are just like, I mean, they are, you can't touch software. That's like very simple definition of software, but you can probably like see it. But like hardware are just like something that you can touch. So like your computer is an hardware, right? It's a hardware. So like if you have a software or you have any program, how do you allocate space? Because when you download something on your computer or your phones, because your phones, they're also like running on some operating system. So if you download something on your computers, or something like on your computer, you download an app, a software or anything, or you write a computer program. So what is actually like managing how to allocate memory? Because like all the memory, they are just like a physical, they are like the hardware, like the memory, all the computations that is happening on your computer, the CPUs, all those things. So they are like the hardware. What manage them? What makes it easier for you, a user, to install the software, and the software being, I mean, just being part of your computer, is the operating system. So like the operating system is just like the one that is managing everything like for you. Is managing your hardware. So like we now have like different operating system, but like the three major operating system which we have Linux OS, Linux operating system. We have Mac OS, which is for like the Apple users. So Linux OS, your phone, your any Android phone is run it. All Android phones run Linux. Like the operating system on Android phones, it is actually like so the operating system, the operating system on Android is Linux. So like, and most some computers also run Linux. So we also have Windows. Windows is like the most common, is like, yeah, exactly, like for like every user, like the most common operating system is Windows. So we also have macOS, which is for like the Mac users. So iPhones also, I mean anything like anything that is any product of Apple, they runs Mac OS, right? So like those are like the three major operating system which you have. So, but another very important thing that we need to know is that there is also an operating system which is called Unix, UNIX. So it's also an operating system, but like it's like one of the first operating system, probably like the first operating system actually. Unix is like the first operating system. So this Mac OS and Linux, so they are just like a fork, like they are just like a child of Unix. So they are like a child of Unix operating system. So like, but like, why these are like some technical, they are not really technical, but like they are just like, I mean, cool stuff. So why Linux? Why do we need Linux? So the first reason, or let me just tell you like some little history about, I mean, Linux, how it comes about. Like, so Linux is just like, there's a guy called Linus. They call him Linus Torvald. So Linus instead of X. The operating system is Linux, while the person that built the operating system is Linus Torvald. So the guy was a computer science student. The guy just learned C in his college, learned a course on operating system Unix. As at that time, Unix was like the only operating system, but like Unix was so expensive, like big companies. Okay, write the name here. Linux is like one of the top G in software. Like the guys, one interesting thing about Linux, is like one of the best guys which I really love in software world. Like the guy still code every day, like every day. If you go to his GitHub is like a GitHub is a platform where like software engineers where they collaborate. So if you go to GitHub, so you if you go to like Linux Torvald profile on GitHub, the guy code every day. So like the guy is like a top, I mean top G. So like that is his name, Linux Torvald. While we have Linux operating system. So exactly. So the guy was working. The guy was just like a guy who just loved like software, something like that. Not really like what is a computer science student. So then he learned C, he learned operating system. But as at that time, as I'm saying, like Unix was like the only operating system that is available, and Unix was like very expensive. Not everyone can actually afford it. It's like, I mean, like most of the time, even like the first computers, like as at 1980 something, 19, like all this 1990 stuff, not everyone can be able to like afford computers was not like widely like available to everyone. So Unix operating system, like, I mean, you need operating system to be able to like run your computer quite well, but like Unix was not available for everyone. So like this guy just like, just build an operating system. And okay, that is a fallacy. It doesn't really, Linux it's not an operating system, it's a kernel. But like, I mean, for the whole story, like, but like, let me just say it is like, no, let me just call it is a kernel. How do I explain this? So I mean, so like the okay, let me just come back. So Linux server just build I'm going to like explain what I mean by kernel. So like the guy just built the Linux kernel, and he actually open source it. Like when we say something like open source is like one of the program which we are going to be having here. So when we have like softwares that are being built by like private companies, so like if you have to like download those softwares, you have to like pay money for it or something like that. But like open source softwares, they are free softwares. You don't have to like pay money. You don't need to like pay money. You just need to like get the code and start running it. So like Linux is a free software. Like you don't need to like download it. That's one of the reasons why Linux is very important. Linux operating system is a free software. You don't need to pay money. Like for Windows and Mac OS, you have to like pay money to be able to like use it. You have to like keep upgrading. You have to like keep upgrading those softwares. But like for Linux OS, it is like it is free. So but like that would probably not answer like why is it very important. So one of the reasons why it is, there are a lot of reasons why Linux is very important. One of the reason is that it is very secure. It is like the most secure operating system. So like it is very, I mean, I'm sorry, very secure. So like ah the operating system is very secure. Like you can't hack it. You can't hack Linux. Or if you are going to hack it, you need to like probably be to you have like you need to like have gotten to like a certain level of knowledge in hacking for you to be able to like hack Linux OS. So like you can't hack Linux compared to like something like Windows. So like then Linux also like it is free to use. It is free. Like you don't need to pay to use it. It is free. So like if you want to like update it, you just need to like go to like you just search a YouTube video on how do I like install this, and you can actually like install Linux. You can install it. So that is also another one thing. It is very secure. It is free. So then another thing is that probably like when you are working on your if you are working on Windows, at a point in time you might just see like something is updating, like it will just like probably you are doing something that's very important. You just notice that your computer is rolling saying like it is updating or something like that. So like you don't have something like that in Linux. So if you want to like update your Linux, so you just kind of uh you just it just give you like a notification that it wants like a notification that okay, I want to like get updated or something like that, and you can actually say okay, yes, I okay, accepted. And when it is actually updating, it's not going to disrupt what you are doing. So that is also another reason why Linux is actually preferable. Then another thing is that Linux is the only operating system that is built for programmers. So like the reason why just have it in mind that Linux is like just like built for programmers, like for the use case of programmers, for programmers to be able to like use it. Like so that's the reason, like everything in Linux like is just for like programmers. Another thing is that you see most of the softwares that we have, especially for like anything that's related to like coding, they are targeted. Okay, like someone asked a question. You said window is not free, but since the time I have been using Windows I have not been paying. Yeah, but like you are using act Windows, like you are using illegal or some sorts, like something like that, like yeah.
Me allow Microsoft here. Oh. I
Exactly.
did dangerous, I mean.
Okay. Okay, I guess exactly. I mean, I think the idea is that you are using add like Windows, like not really like, I mean, the Windows that is being like distributed. Like if you are in, probably like in some outside the country, like all these Windows, I think they are paid for. Another thing, but like another thing is that if you all these exactly like all these Windows like apps that runs on Windows, something like Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excels, they are app that you need to pay for unless you are using act version. But like when you come to like Linux World, you don't pay for anything. Like everything is free. So like we have like equivalent apps for like Linux, sorry, for Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel. We have something we call is it library or something like I don't know. This is the name. So like this I don't know how to like pronounce it, I'm so sorry. Probably like Libre, or I don't know. If someone can actually pronounce it, you can help with the pronunciation. So like this software, it's like, I mean, for like writing Excel and stuff like that. So like everything on Linux is free, but like Windows, except you are using the Act version. Like most of us, we are probably using the Act version. Like you are probably using these Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excels. They are all Act version. So like they are not like They're not like the paid version. Like, but like normally we're supposed to use the paid version. So that is the idea. So another something which I was saying, which is like one of the most important thing, is that most of the softwares that we are using, like if you are write a Python programming language, any programming languages, anything that you can imagine, most of the softwares you are using, any software, any language, any programming languages, any softwares, they're actually built having Linux in mind. Like those people that build those softwares or those programming languages, they built those languages having Linux in mind. So that is the idea. If like I mean if I want to if you are running like if you are running Python on Windows, so of course it is going to work if you are going to like use like VS Code or something like that. But like like the overview is that all these programming languages, they are built having Linux in mind. So like there is a way that which I can compile Python or C programming languages or all other programming languages using my own Linux operating system. There is a way that we compile it that a Windows user will probably need to like download the virtual machine to be able to like do the similar stuff. Unless if you are using like VS Code to write Python or C, there are a lot of abstractions that you didn't see, like the VS Code has actually like taken care of. If you are not using VS Code, probably you are using PyCharm or some other IDE or text editors. It is either IDE or text editor. So like those two things, like there are a lot of abstraction that have that has happened. But like the idea is that all these programming languages, they are built with the mind of Linux. And one important thing is that Linux is like very reliable. So like most of us have been hearing a lot about cloud or something like that, like something like cloud. I don't know if you have heard of cloud computing, cloud, like they will say your data is in the cloud. If you have heard of something like that, can you please something like just signifies or something like that? Hello, am I audible? Am I still like or am I saying like a lot of technical stuff?
Of course, we are enjoying you, boss.
Okay, okay, okay. So like so as I was saying, there is something we call cloud, or they always say that clouds are run on like our data is being stored on clouds or something we call servers. So all those servers, all those clouds, they're like Linux cloud servers. Even like Microsoft also have like a server. They call it I think AWS. No, AWS is for Amazon. Microsoft Azure is for like Microsoft. So like these are like servers. So servers are just like, like like all these websites that we have, everything, they are being stored on servers. So like all the stuff, if you create a website, if you create an app and you are storing it somewhere, so they are being run on a server, like they are being stored on a server. So these servers are just like computers. They are just like like they are just like computers. But like these computers, they are like computers. Let me just simplify it. When you create a website or you create an app, or you are a data science or data analyst, you have some datas, you want to store, you can't keep storing your, there will be a point where the datas or your website or your app will be so big that you won't be able to like store it in your computers, in your personal computers. So you want to store it somewhere. So where do we store it? So we always say we store it on the cloud, so or we store it in a server. So these servers are actually like physical computers located mostly in US, like all these AWS, Microsoft Azure. Yeah, I'm the one presenting. I'm just yeah. Someone asked, uh, but like I don't really have a slide. I'm sorry. So so the idea is like when all these like our data, they are being stored on the cloud or on a server. So they are being stored on a cloud or a server. But like as I'm saying, these servers or this cloud, they are actually physical computers located somewhere, most especially in the US. I think the Chinese and the Japanese, they also have. I'm not. I won't really say they are mainframe. I don't really. Probably I don't know. But like they are just like a very big computers. Like they don't really have. I don't know how it works. I won't. I've not been there. So yeah, class has started. Actually, it's a yeah. So like these are like. I mean, if I can, let me just share my screen. This should be an interactive. Share my screen. Is my screen visible? Okay, I think it's visible. Physical servers. Exactly. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. We can.
Exactly. So like these are just like like these are like servers. So they are like very big machines. So like these are like they are like servers. So when you say we are storing something on the cloud or we are storing something on virtual server or something like that, or we are storing something in a server or cloud or something like that. So like these are like this is where they are being stored. So most of them, they are located probably in the US, the Amazon, the we have AWS, we have Microsoft Azure. I think we also have another one which is also popular. I've forgotten. So these are physical. These are like physical computers. So the thing is that so you have like some companies where you can actually like okay give you will submit your website to them, so they will store it. So there will be like there are some ways which they do their stuff. So your app or your app or your website or your data, the data that you are collecting or something like that, then it will be stored on these computers or on this cloud. We call them cloud. So but the idea is that this cloud are being run on Linux, because Linux is very reliable. Linux is not just going to like break down at a point. Sometimes when you are doing something on Windows, it will just break down. Or it will just be this little emoji like that, this blue emoji that update or something like that. So that doesn't happen on Linux. Linux is very reliable, very secured. So that is the reason. That is and and as I said earlier, it is like a it is like the only operating system that is being built for like programmers. So that's like those are like the reasons why Linux is like that's the reason like Linux, you have to just like learn Linux. Linux is like the best operating. Like to me, like it's like the best operating system. So, but still, one thing that you have to understand is that when your own work or your own job is probably like specific to like designing, more of graphic stuff, even gaming, it won't be really advisable to use Linux. I you probably want to use something like Windows or Mac OS. But like when it's like something related to programming, you are dealing with servers. Yeah, because servers are Linux. So it is easy for like Linux to communicate with Linux. Even if you are using Windows to like communicate with servers, most of the times you will probably be installing virtual machine. Virtual machine are just like a computers. If you have your physical computers, so virtual machine are just like they are also computers. So but the idea is that they're like software. So they're like softwares. So if you have in your normal computers, in your physical computers, you have like CPU, you have like memories, you have like space, all those kind of stuff. So when you install a virtual machine, so like little portion of those parts of your CPU, of your little portion of your CPU, little portion of your RAM, little portion of your room will be allocated to the virtual machine, something like that. So in short, why is Linux very useful, like very very useful, very important? It's very secured. You don't need to like when if it is very reliable, it is not going to break down at any point. It's very reliable. uh like most of the programming languages, most of the softwares are built having Linux in mind. So like most of the times when they build a language, when they build a language or a software, they kind of build it for Linux and try to like make it to be make it usable for like Windows. But like there are some apps, like a lot of softwares that are built for Windows also, like all these Microsoft Excel, they are built for, because they're like they are like, they call them I've forgotten the name, but like they are like private apps. Like you can't get the code, you can't do anything. But like for Linux, all the most of like almost 100% of apps running on Linux, you can get the code. You can like see the code somewhere and probably like change it and stuff like that. So if you are doing hacking also, like most of the hacking, cybersecurity, they are being done on Linux. Like you can't if you don't really know Linux, and you can't really say you're an hacker. Like you have not gotten, probably you are just starting. So like Linux is very important for hacking, for data science, or data analysis or something like related to data, because you are storing your data on server which is being run on Linux. So you need to like know how to like interact with those servers, like because those servers, what they understand most is like a Linux language. Like they understand Linux language, so you need to be able to like communicate with them in Linux language. So if you are doing something like, there's also DevOps. So DevOps, you are probably like dealing with a lot of cloud stuff. So and all this cloud, they are probably like, they are like mainly servers, they are mainly Linux, they are mainly running on Linux operating system. So and for you to be able to communicate with them, you need to like understand their language. So that's why you need to like learn Linux. So if you start using Linux, it just makes it easier for you to be able to like because Windows is mostly graphics. Like you if you want to do anything, you kind of click on an app and do stuff. You want to like if you want to create if you want to create a folder, you click on some apps, some interface. So we call that GUI interface. So GUI interface, graphics user interface. But like before Linux, what did they use for server? I don't think there is server before Linux. So like, I think that is the idea. But we can also search that. Is there server? I mean, is okay. They said Unix. Ah, so like from what I saw, so like Unix uh is the operating system that is being used for servers before Linux. But like the idea is that, as I said earlier, Linux and macOS, they are just like a child. They call it a fork of let me just spell the fork. So like they are just like a fork of Unix. So they are just like a child of Unix. Like at this moment, Unix is Unix at this moment, like Linux is probably like like very, it has like very large community support. So everyone just go for like Linux. It's just the best right now. So and as at that time, server was not really something very popular. Exactly, it was not really like very very popular. Like, so that's just the idea. So was I able to like answer the reason why Linux is am I able to like convince people that Linux is like the best? I don't know. I mean, let me also see some other reason which I got from ChatGPT here, because I searched on ChatGPT. Like, so it says Linux is a versatile operating system. So like it's one of the first reason it says is a server environment, which I actually said. So like your web servers, like Apache and Nginx, or how did they call it? So like everything are deployed on, like everything is like on Linux. So for you to be able to communicate with them, you need to like learn the language. So your database servers, your web servers, your anything servers, they are run on Linux most of the time. Though for like Microsoft Azure, though they also run on Linux. Imagine if Microsoft the big Microsoft is running Linux. So I think it's a sign that Linux has like some lot of advantage. That is the reason why they are running on Linux. They also run on Windows. Like I think they splitted it 50-50% or something like that. But like they are still, the fact that they are running on Linux shows that, I mean, they still need to like, I mean, they need to like, I mean, do some stuff. They probably like know that Linux is like a very good stuff or something like that, very good operating system. So like server environment, like I mean web servers, database servers, enterprise computing. So like I already said it, like cloud computing, they all use Linux. So like if you work in a company where they are probably like, I mean if you're a database engineer or Linux engineer or data science or software or web developer, so you want to like put your website on server, so you want to, so like, and the server is Linux, so you need to like learn the language of Linux. So if you learn it earlier, it just makes everything easier for you. Like they also said something like, I mean, DevOps networking. Yeah, in networking, I mean, Linux is very important in networking. Like most of the command, all these routers, switches, they are all runs like they are all run on Linux. So I mean, when you get to like networking, you also like see, okay, like the application of Linux. Then another thing is embedded system, all these IoT devices. So like embedded system IoT devices, like okay, let me, what is an example, what is a very simple, like IoTs are just like, I mean, automation tools or something like that, like all these Raspberry Pi, all these Raspberry Pi, there are a lot of them like that, like a lot of devices that like small devices, your I won't say watches, like, but like small devices, like small electronic devices that uses operating system, they all use Linux. Your phone, it's, if you're an Android user like Samsung, all those Technos, they all run on Linux. I mean, education and research institutes, and it's a very cost effective solution. It is like free. Another thing which is one of the another thing which we really love, especially by someone who probably wants to like get your hand dirty, so like is that you can customize your Linux. Like I mean, for someone using Windows, you can't really customize it. It is when probably like they say, okay, there is Windows 11, then you install Windows 11 to be able to like, I mean, get your own touch. But like for Linux, you can adapt it to like what you want. So I mean, it's, you can just copy the code and change some stuff. But probably you need to go and learn C, or I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Like you need to learn C because Linux is majorly written in C with some assembly code. If you look at GitHub, I mean, we can also look at it now. Linux GitHub. Uh, I don't know if I'm interested or if I'm being too technical. So like this is I mean, this is like the so like this is the Linux that we are all shouting about. Like this is the code. So I mean, let me just, so like this is the code of Linux. So like it's something that you can just copy the code and make use of it. But probably you need to like learn how to like, I mean, how to write C. So like it's C, 98% is written in C, and little is written in assembly, Python and shell and stuff like that. But like I mean we're able to like get the point. So like the major point is that if you're a web developer, can we say Linux is a language? Linux is not a language. Linux is not a language. Linux is not a language. As I said, Linux is just like a kernel. Just know that Linux is not a language. Linux is not a language. So, in summarize, what is the usefulness of Linux? Why is it important? So the idea is that most of the operations that we'll be doing as a software engineer, as an hacker, as a database guy, database manager or something like that, there you need like, I mean, like all the data, let me just say all the data, anything that we are storing on cloud, on servers, all those things are run on Linux. And for you to be able to understand them, for you to be able to like communicate with them, you need to understand Linux language. So the idea is, what is Linux language? So Linux language is what we call bash. I'm sorry, shell. Linux language is what we call shell. So shell is like the Linux language. It's like the language uh to interact with Linux. So that is just like shell. That is shell. Shell is the Linux language. So let me also like say a few things. So Linux is not Linux itself is not like the name of an operating system. It's like there's something called kernel. So kernel is like I mean like kernel is what interact with the hardware directly. So like kernel is what manages like if you are allocating spaces, all those kind of stuff, anything that you are doing, kernel is what interacts directly with the hardware. It's like if you look at some pictures of kernel, they probably put it's like a kind of wrapper around environment. I won't say kernel is an environment, but like it's part of the environment. When we say like Linux environment are everything in Linux, like your shell, your kernel, your all the apps. Shell is not Shell is like part of the environment also. Like shell is also part of the Linux environment. Yeah, so I mean, shell is also part of the Linux environment. So like Linux is just a so let me just understand that kernel is just like I mean like kernel in normal English word. I think kernel is just like a container. I mean something like that. So like Linux is just like a container that wrap up the a software container. It's very important. It's a software container that wrap up the hardware like your computers, your physical computers. So like the kernel, yeah, the kernel is just like the one that wrap up the physical computer. So you're able to like interact like the allocations of memory, like what manage the hardware. Because if you look at your hardware at a certain level, they are just like transistors and some transistors, chips, lot of stuffs. So what manage like you might probably like have imagined that how does this happen? Like if you download something, how is the space allocated for the what you downloaded? So like kernel is just like the software that manage like that, like the lot of stuff. So it's one that manage the hardware. So then what's now the operating system? What are now the Linux operating system? So Linux operating system, like for you to be an operating system, you need a kernel. So all the operating system that use Linux kernel, that's we now call them Linux operating system or Linux distro. So they call them Linux distro. So something like Ubuntu. I'm currently running on Ubuntu. So Ubuntu is like a Linux distro or Linux OS. So we have Arch or Arc. People call it Arch or Arc. We also have Debian. We have there are so many. I think there is I've forgotten. There are so many. There are so many of them. Arch, Linux. We have I mean Kali. Kali is like the Linux for like for hackers, like hackers. If you want to probably like access dark web, I don't know, I'm not saying this, but like if you want to access dark web, so like I think they probably like use like Kali because like I mean like for like these cybersecurity guys. So I mean that's just like the use case of Linux. I mean for software, for data guy, for data science guy. So all everything that you are storing it on a Linux server. So for you to communicate with the Linux server, you need to understand Linux language. So that is where you knowing Linux comes in. If you want to do networking, so you need to, like if you want to test if your server like because there's something called web administration. Like if you have a website, you need to like keep testing that is the website on, is the website working, all those kind of stuff. So you can use what is the name of the Linux language? Shell. Yeah, Shell. So Shell is the name of the Linux language, right? So we also have like many form of shell. We have Bash shell. We have Bash. Like all this. I mean, for like Ubuntu, we have Bash. For Arch, I think Arch use Kali use ZSH. So we have a lot of Bash, but like the the language is like shell, like everything, like the language is similar. So I mean that is just like the use cases of Linux. I mean like that's why Linux is interesting. Then another thing which is one of the major reasons which I use Linux is that I mean like there are a lot of programmers I mean, how do I flex on other programmers? How do I flex on other programmers? So if I use Linux, I mean, I'm everything which I'm doing, I write it on command line. I don't. If I want to create a directory, if I want to create a folder, I do it on from my own command line. So it's kind of fun. It's kind of, I mean, I can flex on on newbies developers. So I mean, that's also one of the reasons which I also use Linux. But like, let's see. So, but like, I mean, when you start getting into the industry, you start to like realize like the more importance, like you started to like see why it is so useful. So I mean, you can do it. So like, I mean, that is just like the idea. So that's just like the use cases of Linux and stuff like that. So the next thing that we have to like go into now is like learning like some basic shell command, like some basic command lines. So like basic command lines. But the thing is that we need to like, I mean, like, I don't know if some of us have Linux installed. Should we install Linux, or I should just create some videos? I mean, record some videos on record some videos on those basic command, or we can just install it. I mean, what do you guys think? Let us try. What do you guys think? Let's, I mean, this is a very, it might be boring, I don't know, but like this is just, let's, I mean, can we just signify if we should install it? I mean, or I can just create some. How many of us have it installed already? Seems a larger number. It won't take long. Uh I'm also scared of. Okay. Okay. I think what I will just do right now is that uh I will do two things. I will try and I will just, if you have probably like installed yours, so we can just I mean, we can just do like some little few commands. Let's just do some few commands. So then I'll probably like create another video. I will just record a video explaining some other commands. So and I mean, so I will send the video so you can install it personally. Then you can install it personally. Then later go through my video, or you can probably like go to some other YouTube videos. So I will just open my own terminal exactly. So is my screen visible enough? Hello, is my screen visible? What of now, is my screen visible? Yeah, yeah, okay. I think it's kind of visible. So I mean, if you are able to like, if you are able to like install it, we can just follow along. But if you are not able to like install it, you can install it later. Just like, I mean, just see how it works, and you can install it later. I'll probably like just I might just send some videos. I might create some videos, or just send some recorded videos on Linux, like some other people's video. So that will also be a very good idea. So like so this is what we call like this black screen. So this is like, I mean, you can change the color. Some people can make it. I mean, you can, Linux is something that you can keep doing. You can keep making changes and stuff like that. So this is what we call terminal. So so we have something we call GUI, which is called graphics user interface. And we also have something called CLI, command command line interface. So like GUI is like graphics. Like if I want to like go to like Firefox now, I can just click on it, right? I can click on, or if I want to open my Chrome or something like that, I can just say if I want to open Firefox, I can just click on Firefox. So like that's like GUI, like you are interacting with your computers using like graphics. But like command line, you are using your terminal to interact with your computer. So anything that you want to do, you are doing it through command line. So if you want to like open, if I want to like open my Chrome, is it Chrome? Uh, Let me see, Firefox. So like if I want to open my Firefox through my terminal, instead of clicking here, so I can just click on, I can just say type uh I can just type Firefox and it's going to like show me Firefox. Let me just, so it's just going to like show Firefox. So that is just it. So instead of using your graphics, so you just type everything using your command line. So terminal is just like this this is like terminal. So it is just like where you type your command into. So we can also say but like when you go deeper, don't let me go deeper because this is not actually like the real terminal. We call this terminal emulator. These are all terminal emulator. But like they are still the same thing. Like they do the same thing as what the real terminal does. So the real terminal takes command from the user and pass it to like what executes the command. So now what are the basic command that we need to like learn if you are just coming into like Linux world? So the first thing is probably like how to like know like who are you, like who am I, like you want to know who am I. So like so it's just like who am I. So unique Usman. So that's like the first command. It might not be like if you go to like some other channel, it might not be like they might not talk about you am I first, who am I first, but like it's a very good, interesting command to understand. So who am I? Like it's going to like so like when you're installing your Linux, probably you're using VirtualBox or virtual machine or dual booting, or you are completely using Linux, so you kind of type your username or something like that. So this is just like your usernames, like who am I. So another thing is that you want to like probably know, if you are using like GUI now, this is like GUI. So this is like GUI. So you probably like see, okay, I am currently in home directory, right? So okay, yeah, I'm currently in home directory. So in Linux world, we call it directory, but like Windows they call it folder, but like we call it directory in Linux. So those are like some simple terms. So we call it directory, not folder. So if you're in Windows world, you might be calling it folder, but like in Linux world, we call it directory. So this is like this is like the current directory which I am. So I am in the home directory. So if you want to like also print through like the command line, if you want to like know which directory are you, so you can just say pwd, like print print working directory, pwd. So if you see it, so it's going to say, okay, I'm in home slash unique Usman. So this is the current directory which I am located in. So I mean, is some of us following along? I didn't even ask earlier. Is any of us able to like follow along? Okay, okay,
Yes, we are following. I'm following.
okay, cool. Uh so that's just like print. If you want to like know your current working directory, so who am I? It's going to like tell you your username. So print working directory, like which directory are you? So it's going to print it. So another thing is that if you are using your if you are using your GUI, graphical user interface, so you kind of see that, okay, this is the these are the folders in, I mean, these are the folders according to like the window users. So these are the folders or directory, and we also have like files. So you can see like these are the files, these are the folders that are in my current working in my in the current directory which I am, which is home. So like we have like Java folder, we have desktop folder, we have multi folder, all these folders. So we also have like these files, we have like C files, we have all these kind of files, we have hello, like all this kind of thing. So if you want to like say, okay, how can you see all those files? So what you just do is like just do ls. So ls is just going to like show you the same thing. So like, okay, these are like the folder. So something which most of the times when you will say ls, which is like, I think list, something like that, list. So you kind of see that the some color, it might be different in different, if you are using Kali or some other. I'm using Ubuntu distro. So if you are using other distro, so if you are using other distro, so it might, the color might be different. But like most of the time, so this blue represent like folder, while all these white, they represent something like file. So this is like txt file, text file. So this is a C file, this is a JavaScript file, I mean, so this is a shell scripting file, all those kind of file. So I mean, this is also like a video file, so which is represented, which the color is like kind of different. I think this is color purple, and this is like red, so this is like jar file or something like that. So like these are like this is how you, that's how you can get like what kind of file, which if you are in a directory, like you want to like know what are the folders, what are the file do you have in your directory. So we use ls for that. So that is that. So another thing is that, see, after like typing some stuff, after typing in my after typing on my screen, we kind of see that I want like there are a lot of, I want to like clear the screen, I want to like type other commands. So I can just say clear. So clear is like the command for clearing the screen. So that is like clear, so it's going to like clear out the screen. So so that is that. So I think we have learned like some few commands. The first one is who am I, which is going to like tell you about which user are you. Another one is ls. Another one is uh another one which we have done is, what have we done, pwd, print working directory, right? So these are like the three commands which are, oh, this is a technical. So like this is pwd, that's also another command. So another command is that, okay, now I want to create a file. I mean, in if you are using, if you are using Windows or some operating, or if you are using Mac OS, or even if you are using something like this, if you are using Linux also, you should be able to, I don't even know how to create a file using, okay, you can create I don't know how to create, okay, how do you create a file using GUI? Oh damn, I don't know how to do this. I mean, you can create, I don't know how to create a file using GUI. I don't know. Wow, this is so funny. How do you create a file? Oh damn. But like, it should be something like, okay, no. Okay, so if you want to create a new folder, so that's how you create a new folder. Like, I mean, most of the time, if I want to create a folder or something like that, you can just do a new folder or something like that. Then create a new folder or something like that. So if you want to also create a file, there should be a way to, how do you create a file? But like, that's for like GUI. So, but like, if you are going to like create a file, so if you are going to create a file using command line, so you just say touch name of your file. So let me, okay, before that, let us understand how can we create a folder. So like a folder or directory, we call it directory in Linux, as I said earlier. So how do you create a directory? So a simple command to create a directory is very simple. mkdir, name of the, this is autocomplete, I'm sorry. So mkdir, name of the folder. So let me just say Linux Linux class. So this is mkdir is a make directory Linux class. The name of the directory is Linux class. So bams, it has already created this. How do we know? Let us say ls. So let ls, so it's going to list all the files and folder in our current directory. So let's look for Linux directory. uh where is it? The So like Linux class. So this is the folder which we just created. Sorry, yeah, folder or directory. So this is the folder or directory which we just created. So now how do we change our, this is like we are currently in this directory. So how do we change it to like the new directory that we just created? It is very simple. So we just do uh how do we so we just do cd, which is like which is for change directory. What is the name of the new directory that we just created? So that is Linux class, right? So you can see it's kind of sign that okay, this is like we are currently in Linux directory class. So if you say uh pwd, to know like pwd is for like print working directory. So it's going to tell you that okay, we are currently in what /home/uniqueusman/ Linux class. So this is like the current directory which we are. So if we can clear the screen, pwd again. That is that. So we can, and cd is what we use for like moving to like directory. Cd, the name of the directory which you are going to. So another thing is that how do we create a file? So we just say touch name of the file. So touch, I can just say touch hello, touch something like uh hello, just hello. So like touch hello. So that is, if I say ls, I'm going to select the hello file. So how do we create, if you create another directory, let me say mkdir hello class, let me just say directory. So we have created a directory which is, we use both mkdir and to create the directory, mkdir name of the directory, right? So now another thing in which we probably want to like know is that how do we remove a file? So like it's just very simple. Rm is like remove hello. So if you are going to, so for file, if you are going to remove a file, so it's going to be like rm hello. So let's see it. So we can see that what the hello is not currently here again. So like that is how to like remove a file. So we can also remove a directory rm. If you say rm dir, so for file it is rm, just like simple rm. But like for directory, it is probably like it is rm dir, remove directory. So name of the file, name of the directory. So if we say, if we list it again, you see that there is nothing showing up again. So coming again, how do we create a file? We say touch, then the name of the file ls, it has been created. How do we create a directory? Mk, make a directory dir, name of the, so this is going to be like the name of the directory. Then we say ls, so both of them are currently here. So another thing is that if you have a okay, let me just move into this directory, cd directory. So cd is to like change directory, as I said earlier. So we are currently in what, if we say pwd, which is for printing working directory. So we are currently in this directory like this directory, or I mean like we are currently in this folder name directory. So if you create a new file, touch, I hope this is not getting too technical. This is probably, I mean I'll probably say we should just stop it here or something like that, because it's probably like getting technical. People are probably like not able to like follow along. So what I'm going to do is that we should all try to like we should all try to like install a Linux using probably like virtual machine or something like that. When we install it, then we can I will send a video like of I mean I might record the video or just look for some video of introduction to like bash scripting or something like that. But like the main point of the main point of the whole story here is that try to like learn Linux command. Like it will be very useful for you, because most of the thing when you get into tech, most of the thing that you probably be doing, like some of the like most like anything that related to like storing data, storing websites, storing apps, storing everything, uh you probably need to like use Linux, like Linux language. And Linux language is all those things that we are typing, like LX, LX, all those making of directory, all those kind of stuff. So they are like the languages of Linux, but like there are more than that. Like, but the thing is that the idea is that you have to start from somewhere. I mean, probably like a year ago or a year ago, I don't really know anything about Linux. Like I was probably like using Windows, but like after getting started, little by little, I was able to like become a pro. So there are some things that is very easy for me. I can easily like do stuff using my command line. Even at this point, I probably don't know even how to like use all these graphics again, because I am probably like used to like using command line. So, but the thing is that, but the idea is that if you are able to like start using all these tools, it just makes your life easier. Like, and another thing is that like if you want to like get some job, so even web development job, data science job or something like that, they kind of tell you that use they kind of tell you that like one of the required skills is that Linux slash shell. So like shell scripting is also like a language, like all these things that we are doing, all these ls, all this stuff, they actually like shell scripting or something like that. But like when shell scripting is more of writing it in a file and stuff, like writing all this command in a file. So but it seems everything is I also understand like it's kind of complicated for like beginners and stuff like that. So but the idea is that just be don't it is not really complicated, like it is just very interesting. If you really understand what is going on, it is very interesting. So I mean we'll probably just end it here. I don't want it to get more boring and stuff like that. So but another thing is that that is just the end of that. But like next classes, it won't be really technical. It's of course it is not going to be technical. So like the next classes on Saturday and Sunday, which is like next week. So it's going to be on one is on remote job, how to like get remote job, and another one is how to like get into a big tech company. So like for remote job, the person that's going to be taking that session is actually someone that I've gotten into like that I've gotten like a lot of remote jobs. Something from the person was working with. There is this Moralis is just like a blockchain company, which is actually a virtual company. There's also another. Like he has worked with many remote companies. Like most, I think like probably like 90% of all the job he has probably like taken. They are all remote jobs. So that is that. Then also like even currently he has like a lot of remote job he is doing, so he's so knowledgeable in that field. So then for like the how to get into big tech company, so like the person that is also coming, the person is probably going to be an Indian, is an Indian of like the person is living in India, so like he's an Indian guy. So the person has actually like gotten many internship like through like many internship like in very big tech company, like and he has even like secured a tech internship for like next year 2024. Imagine someone has secured, because he's actually he's still currently a student in my school. So he has secured an internship for like next year also. So I mean so that is just that. And I hope I'm able to like convince people that I mean they should start probably like learn Linux. Like I mean it's just part, try to just incorporate it in your work. So it just makes stuff easier, and I mean it just makes stuff easier. So I mean I'm sorry for the boring classes, but like this is like a technical stuff. That is probably why it is boring. Personally, I'm not a boring person. I'm not really a boring person, but like what I'm teaching is quite boring, especially for like beginners. But like I mean the main idea is these things are something that you have to learn. I mean it's just skyrocket it's just going to like I mean improve your skill generally. It's like a requirement in most of the tech job and stuff like that. So I mean thank you guys for attending. If you have any question, I mean you can just drop it in I mean in the group or something like that. And I mean that is just it. I don't want to get just keep making it boring. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining. Have a good uh nice rest or something like that. See you guys. Wetin wey you suppose don tell me say make I go do sọ fún mi. Ó yẹ kó ti sọ fún mi wàá ti send me.